We welcome you to Winnipeg, here for the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets. It's 3-1 Winnipeg lead. They win to advance in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Blues season all comes down to this. It's Game 5 with Winnipeg leading 3-1 as they look to move on to the second round, and St. Louis will look to force Game 6 back at home. Out in front, good play out there to start this game for St. Louis, and Morrissey will bring it up for the Jets for the first time. Morrissey intercepted on the inside by Vucevic. Now here comes Neighbors for St. Louis, back the other way. Neighbors downstairs, intercepted beautifully there by Morrissey, and they'll get it out, float it all the way down, and this one should be icing, and it will be. A couple good looks there for the Blues to start this one. Not even a minute in, already an icing call. Scheifele will face off against Thomas here, and the Blues win it. Falk a shot off the goal post, it goes. Hot start to this one for the Blues. A couple shots on goal here early in this one. Connor brings it up the other way for Winnipeg. Dangles and waits for help, drops it off for DeMello. Velarde inside, taken away by Broberg. And here come the Blues back the other way. Cross-ice pass. This is Neighbors who takes a hit along the far boards. Velarde now takes a hit. Connor feeds it up ahead. Staying on side is Scheifele. Inside DeMello, stopped by Binnington. And a stoppage of play with 18:30 to go, opening period. Just underway here from Winnipeg in Game 5. The Jets lead the series 3-1. A win for them will move them on to the second round. The Blues trying to force Game 6 back at home. Face-off, Sandsberg. Couldn't get a clean one off, and Kessel takes it away for the Blues. Back the other way, and he feeds it around the boards. Perfetti to the near side. And here comes Winnipeg to the upside. Nemestikov. Nemestikov tried to wrap around, gets crunched along the half wall up top. Behind the net now, Holloway for St. Louis. Suter feeds it up to Schenn at the red line, poked away by Sandberg. And Ehlers feeds it to the near side, Nemestikov. Pionk will bring it up for the Jets. Looking for a center as he works it along the half wall. Behind the net, it floats to the far side. Ehlers back up to the point, and Pionk inside. Nemestikov goes wide of the net, and it's taken away on the inside by Suter. And a stretch pass to Holloway up ahead. 2-on-1. Holloway, a shot saved. And it goes to the far side. Holloway got his shoulder on it. And Sandberg, long pass, goes all the way through, and another icing call on Winnipeg. Hot start to this game on both sides of the ice. The adrenaline is high for both of these teams. It's an elimination game for the Blues. Face-off control by the Jets in their own end. Winnipeg, as we mentioned, leads the series 3-1, trying to close it out right here. Mason Appleton fires a shot, and Binnington goes up to snag it with 16:42 to go in the opening period. Face-off control by the Jets. Stanley on the point, now Niederreiter. Down low, Appleton circles. Out in front, what a stop by Binnington. Tic-tac-toe opportunity there for Winnipeg, and a great stop by Binnington out in front. Face-off control by the Jets. Back to the point, JT Miller, now Mason Appleton. Stanley now on the point, has it float out of the zone. Appleton will chase it down for Winnipeg. Appleton takes a hit, feeds it to Lowry, intercepted on the inside by Sundqvist. And Joseph gets knocked down at the red line by Niederreiter. Tucker gains control for St. Louis as he backtracks. To the near side, this is Lenny. Cross-ice pass intercepted by Mason Appleton. Up ahead, Niederreiter. Blues change as Niederreiter has it taken off his stick by Tucker. And now here comes Walker to the near side. Faksa. Faksa centers. Faksa downstairs, disrupted by Stanley. Couldn't get a clean one through, and Appleton starts the charge the other way. Barron now on the top. Stopped by Binnington, and the rebound controls by St. Louis. And here comes Walker back the other way. Walker taken off the stick by Morrissey. DeMello takes a hit but feeds it to Barron. Barron works it in left wing, goes back behind the net. Iafallo out in front. Tanev, what a stop again by Binnington. Broberg trying to get it out, fights for it, and he will get it out. Here's Toropchekno. Foxa taken off his stick by Morrissey. A lot of action on both sides of the ice. Both of these goaltenders, especially Biddington, playing well as the Jets feed it in around the boards. This one floats to the far half wall. Poroshenko battled with Tanev. He gets out. And here comes Thomas up the far wall, feeds it in, and Winnipeg will change. Morrissey will feed it up to Scheifele, who will start the breakout. Scheifele dangles, centering pass. Iafallo stopped by Biddington again. Already 6 shots on goal for Winnipeg. Biddington holding his ground very well here in the early going. Which team will strike first is the question. Still early in this one. Just over 6 minutes gone by in a scoreless game. Kessel brings it up. Vucinovic looking for a center. Works it inside. Intercepted by Velarde on the inside. Floats towards Hellebuyck, who will freeze it. And stop play with 13:27 to go in the opening period. The adrenaline is high. Just a little extra kick in their step to start this game for both of these teams. Face-off control by St. Louis. Kessel loses it at the top of the slot, and the Jets take it back the other way. Numbers if they hurry. Connor working it to the inside. Good stick from behind by Thomas. And Suter brings it out and gets pestered from behind by Scheifele. And Velarde turns back the other way. Velarde right wing. Now works it behind the net to Connor. Connor inside, intercepted by Suter. Miller takes it in neutral ice. As JT Miller backtracks, comes to the near side, and Stanley, who is pestered but keeps it alive, and now Blues take over. Perfetti with a takeaway. Perfetti into the slot, taken away from behind by Bolduc. And now here comes St. Louis back the other way. Bolduc gets punched along the far boards. Perfetti gains control, and now Nemestikov. Drops it off for Pionk. Pionk to Ehlers, who skates to the right wing. Now back up to the point, and Pionk. Pionk down low, Perfetti. Now back up top, Sandberg. Down low, Ehlers. Along the far half wall. Bolduc takes it away from behind for St. Louis, and they'll get out of the zone. Up ahead, this is Joseph for the Blues. Joseph back in to try, stopped by Hellebuyck, and he stops play with 11:39 to go in the opening period of play. Face off in the Jets' end. As we approach the halfway point of this opening period, no score here from Winnipeg. Game 5 with the Jets leading 3-1. Appleton, a shot denied by Biddington, and it goes to the far half wall. Holloway gains control for St. Louis, and he'll turn the net and send it up to Kyrou, who will get it out, and he floats it and turns it over to Pionk. Battle for it along the near half wall. Niederreiter gains control for Winnipeg. Here comes Appleton. Appleton looking for his center, but couldn't get a clean pass off. Leddy forces it to Shen. 2-on-1 if they hurry. Jets with a good change to get defensive back. Shen behind the net. Holloway. Holloway looking for the center. Back up to the top. Tucker, a shot off the blocker of Hellebuyck. Goes to the far side. A one-timer on the inside. Denied by Hellebuyck again. Both of these goaltenders playing very well in this opening period of play so far. Face-off control by St. Louis. Falk lets it fly. That one deflects out of play. And another stoppage with 10:27 to go in the opening period from Winnipeg. A 3-1 lead for the Jets. St. Louis trying to stay alive. On the point, it's Falk. Into the slot. Neighbors now to the near half wall. Centering pass and stopped by Hellebuyck. 6 shot on goal for St. Louis compared to Winnipeg's 7. Both of these goaltenders holding their ground, and a lot of attack opportunities on both ends of the ice. Thomas against Barron, controlled by Winnipeg. DeMello turns it over. Neighbors to Thomas, kicked away by Hellebuyck. And the Jets will get it out of the zone. DeMello crosses the red line, feeds it in for Winnipeg, allows for a change. Broberg turns it over. Tanev out in front. Barron denied. Rebound. Score! Iafallo! And the Jets are off and running in Game 5. Bad spot for a turnover for St. Louis. Tannen feeds it to Iafallo. Binnington made the initial save, and then Iafallo gets it in on the follow-up. And Winnipeg in Game 5 takes a 1-0 lead. Fourth point of these playoffs for Iafallo. And just over halfway through the opening period, the Jets break the ice. Face off in center, controlled by Winnipeg, and they bring it right back in as they feed it in deep. Battle for it along the near half wall. Kicks to the near side where Broberg feeds it out to Falk for St. Louis. Falk centering pass. Walker a shot. Kicked aside. The rebound controlled by Pionk. Pionk gets it up to the near side. Connor exits the zone and enters in for St. Louis. Velarde a shot. Blocked out in front. Scheifele now on the trailer. Denied and out of play by Binnington. 9:02 to go opening period. 10 shots on goal for Winnipeg. 8 for St. Louis. And we'll get a face-off from the Blues' end. Face-off controlled by Winnipeg. Stanley lets it fly. Blocker saved by Binnington. And Sundqvist gets it out with Kessel, leading the charge for the Blues. Inside, Bullock. Bullock taken off his stick by Stanley. Here comes Winnipeg back the other way. Ehlers dangles. Nemestikov fires. Binnington gloves it down. Another stoppage with 8:33 to go in the opening period. Face-off controlled by Winnipeg. Miller at the point. Down low, Perfetti. Looking for a center behind the net. Nemestikov. Wraparound try, lost the puck. And here comes Holloway back the other way for St. Louis. Holloway looking for a center. Drops it off for Shen. A shot! And what a stop by Hellebuyck. 8:05 to go opening period. And another stoppage of play. Hellebuyck holds his ground. Face-off controlled by St. Louis into the slot. It floats to the near side. Buchnevich has it float out of the zone. Watch out. Here comes Appleton. Mason Appleton up ahead of everybody, surrounded by Blues, and that one just floats into the grasp of Binnington, who stops play. Good job by St. Louis there to get back on defense. Appleton was the only Winnipeg Jet entering the zone. Face-off in the Blues' end. Controlled by St. Louis. 1-0 Winnipeg, first period. A goal by Iafallo gets things started for Winnipeg. A win for them will move them on to the second round. St. Louis trying to force game 6. Tucker downstairs. That one goes wide of the net. And Niederreiter will bring it out the other way for Winnipeg. Niederreiter dangles, looking for a shot, and Binnington right into the logo on his chest to stop play. 7:08 to go opening period. 14th shot on goal for Winnipeg. Scheifele will face off against Faksa, and Scheifele wins it. Morrissey, shot, score! Morrissey with the shot, the defenseman gets involved, and it's 2-0, Winnipeg. That one just floated right past Binnington. It looked like he didn't know where the puck was almost. It wasn't shot too fast in terms of velocity. And that one just floats right by the glove of Binnington, and it's an early 2-0 lead for Winnipeg here at home, trying to close this series out here tonight. And looks of disappointment from the St. Louis bench. Scheifele's 8th point of these playoffs, tied with Kyle Connor at the top of the team in this series. At the 12:54 mark in the opening period, 2-0 Winnipeg. St. Louis trying to respond now. Loose puck in the slot, controlled by Winnipeg. Trying to get it out of the zone, and they cannot. Good play there by Walker to keep it in for St. Louis, and now they turn it over. Watch out. Numbers back the other way. DeMello leading the charge. Drops it off for Connor. A shot stopped by Binnington. Winnipeg has all the momentum right now as Bennington makes a good stop, and Winnipeg had a very good opportunity to make it a 3-0 game here early. Face-off control by St. Louis in their own end. Falk feeds it up to Joseph, centering to Sundqvist. Sundqvist downstairs, Bullock couldn't get a clean shot off, comes to the near side. Nemestikov pestered in the corner, and now Ehlers will get it out. Ehlers on the trailer, it's Perfetti, a shot off a body in front, comes to the near side. Falk gets it out to Joseph, who brings it up ahead for the Blues. Joseph to the other side, and Hellebuyck says no. 5:47 to go, opening period. 2-0 Winnipeg here in Game 5. "16 shots on goal for Winnipeg already, 11 for St. Louis. Face-off control by the Blues. On the point, it's Tucker, now Kyrou lets it fly, tipped around, and it goes to the far side. Behind the net, Tanev gains control for Winnipeg, as the Jets look to get it out of the zone, and it floats to the far half wall. Stanley pestered, but they'll get it out with Tanev. Tanev up ahead looking for the center, dangles in front. This is Schenn who takes it away for the Blues, and now Kyrou gets it out. Dangerous territory there in the slot, but the Blues get it out. And here comes Tucker back the other way, centering pass to Schenn. That one goes wide of the net. Holloway, one-timer denied by Hellebuyck. Comes to the far side. Tucker lets it fly. Good block out in front. And now here come the Jets back the other way. It's Barron leading the charge. Barron gets pestered and turns it over. To the far side, this is Leddy who will get it out of the zone. Schenn back in for St. Louis. Turns it over to Stanley with a good stick there, as St. Louis was trying to get it in. Looks to the far side, a turnover. Battle for it in the trapezoid behind the net. Buchnevich intercepted to the inside by Scheifele, and they'll get it out. Scheifele leading the charge, feeds it in deep around the boards. Behind the net, Tucker and Scheifele fight for it. Now to the near side, Suter along the half wall. Scheifele gets free. Scheifele inside, poked away by Binnington at the last second. Back up to the point, Sandberg. Miller, a one-timer denied by Binnington. Another good look there for Winnipeg. 3:42 to go, opening period, and they have all the momentum. Face-off, not very cleanly won by Winnipeg. Niederreiter behind the net. Kicks it to the far half wall. Porchenko turns it over. Pionk, a shot, save, rebound controlled by Toropchenko. This one goes back into the Jets' end, controlled by Mason Appleton, and he gets it out, Niederreiter. 2-on-2 if they hurry. Niederreiter looking for the center. Works it along the near half wall, now behind the net, Lowry. Off the near boards and out of the zone. Winnipeg has to tag back up. Lowry brings it back in. Lowry fires, save, Binnington. Lowry again, wraparound, out in front, Appleton denied by Binnington. 2:38 to go, opening period. Winnipeg has been on the attack this entire opening period. St. Louis desperate for some momentum. Binnington doing his best to keep the Blues in it. Face-off controlled by St. Louis in their own end. And now, it floats to the near side. They get it out of the zone, Boulder. Feeds it in deep. Just under 2.5 to go, opening period of play here from Winnipeg. 2-0 Jets have the lead. Game 5 for the Jets lead the series 3-1. To the far side, this is Perfetti. Perfetti centering pass and a save by Binnington. Jets keep it in. To the point, Morrissey lets it fly off Falk, who blocks the shot attempt. Loose puck behind the net, Nemestikov. Out in front, Ehlers a shot, saved by Binnington. Perfetti keeps it alive, out in front, Ehlers. Now back to DeMello on the way. DeMello back up to the point and Ehlers. Morrissey in the slot, fires one, kicked away by Binnington. Comes to the near side. Pressure is on here for the Jets. Behind the net, Nemestikov. Out in front. Loose puck in the slot, floats to the near side. Under 1.5 minutes to go, opening period, and St. Louis will finally get it out of the zone. Falk feeds it in around the boards. DeMello first guy there. He gets crunched along the boards. Thomas keeps it alive to the point. Leddy into the slot. Stopped by Hellebuyck, and the rebound controlled by Hellebuyck again. 51 seconds to go in the opening period, and Hellebuyck holds his ground once again. Face-off controlled by St. Louis, and then a turnover in the slot comes out to neutral ice, and St. Louis will have to tag back up. 40 seconds to go, opening period, 2-0 Winnipeg. Velarde takes it away as St. Louis tried to enter. Here's Scheifele centering to Velarde. Now a one-timer by Connor. Loose puck goes to the far side. Neighbors gains control for St. Louis. Buchnevich takes a hit at the red line, but stays alive. Feeds it in around the boards. Final seconds of the opening period wind down. Loose puck out in front, controlled by Velarde. Winnipeg will look to wind down the clock. Maybe one final shot here for Connor, who brings it up. He fires it, saved by Bennington, and that'll do it for the opening period of play here from Winnipeg. A 2-0 start for the Jets. Looking to send this series home. They lead 3-1 in the series and 2-0 in the game. We welcome you back to the second period here in Winnipeg. Game 5 where the Jets lead 2-0. It's a 3-1 series lead for Winnipeg. They're looking to end the series right here in front of their hometown fans. St. Louis trying to force Game 6 back at home. Connor feeds it in to start the second period here for Winnipeg. St. Louis working it in their own end and now out through neutral ice. Broberg takes it off his stick by Morrissey. And here comes Scheifele back the other way for Winnipeg. Taken away from behind by Buchnevich. Battle for it, Scheifele. Whipped on the shot attempt and Broberg takes it away. Broberg out in front. Watch out, Connor. Penalty called. And it's going to go on St. Louis. And our first power play of the game will belong to Winnipeg. We're looking to add on to their 2-0 lead. Jake Neighbors guilty for the slash. And now it's a power play here for Winnipeg, looking to add on to their lead. Face-off controlled by St. Louis. Down a man here on the penalty. Poroshenko loses it in neutral ice. Niederreiter trying to turn back, takes a hit by Kessel as a battle for it in neutral ice, and now Nemestikov will bring it in. Nemestikov, a shot, they score! It's a power play goal for Nemestikov, and it's 3-0 Winnipeg. Nemestikov just dangled a little bit, waiting for the open look, and he fires it past Binnington, and it's 3-0 Winnipeg in Game 5. And this crowd is alive and well as the Jets look to move on to the second round. Face-off in center, controlled by Winnipeg, and they'll bring it right back in, fresh off the power play goal, and now that one floats all the way back. No icing. Cairo wins the race for the puck. Battle for it along the near half wall. Piot gets escaped for Winnipeg. Nemestikov will bring it in. Nemestikov, a shot, and he scores! Back to back for Nemestikov, and it's 4-0 Winnipeg. That one just deflected off of Binnington, couldn't secure it, and it trickles into the net, and Winnipeg is dominating Game 5. Bad break there for Binnington. Back-to-back goals for Nemestikov. His second goal in under a minute, and it's 4-0 Winnipeg. Pure domination for the Jets. So Nemestikov scores 2 goals in under a minute, and it's 4-0 Winnipeg now. And St. Louis desperate for some momentum, or this thing's going to get really ugly really fast. DeMello will lead the charge now up ahead to Barron. Barron loses it in the slot. St. Louis takes it away. This is Tucker. Feeds it up to Holloway. Kyrou now brings it in for St. Louis. Kyrou couldn't get a clean one off. He gets it back, fires one towards Hellebuyck, saved. Loose puck out in front, and it squirts to the far side. Hellebuyck continues to hold his ground, pitching a shutout bid here. Early second period. 4-0 Winnipeg. Leddy gains control for the Blues to the far side. Joseph working it in their own end. Now out. This is Bolduc. Up ahead, Sundqvist. Circles the net out in front, Joseph. Sundqvist now on the goal line, floats it to the far half wall. Bolduc now behind the net. Sundqvist trying to stay alive. Tanev gains control for Winnipeg, and they will get it out. Morrissey up ahead to Iafallo. Iafallo loses it at the top of the slot. Bolduc gains control for St. Louis. Circles his own net. Feeds it around to Kessel. And the Blues will get it out of the zone. Errant pass. Goes all the way back. Icing is the call. And the faceoff will come back into the St. Louis end. 16-19 to go in the second. 4-0 Winnipeg has the lead. They lead the series 3-1. Faceoff controlled by St. Louis. Suter brings it up, drops it off for Joseph. Joseph off a body. It floats to the far side. Velarde's got it for Winnipeg, and it turns back the other way for the Jets. Now Scheifele working with Stanley as the trailer, blocked out in front, and it goes to the near side. Scheifele gets knocked down behind the play. Velarde out in front. Bennington says no. 27 shots on goal for Winnipeg compared to St. Louis's 14. Face-off controlled by St. Louis in their own end. Broberg up ahead, Neighbors, now Buchnevich. Buchnevich inside Thomas, a shot gloved down by Hellebuyck. And Hellebuyck has played an excellent first half of this game. 4-0 Winnipeg, 15 shots on goal, and Hellebuyck has stopped all of them. And Winnipeg looking to move on to the second round. Face-off in the Jets' end, controlled by Winnipeg. Niederreiter floats it in. He gets crunched up top. Broberg gains control down low for St. Louis. Falk takes a hit, but Thomas able to escape. Now Buchnevich. Buchnevich fires, save, Hellebuyck. Rebound out in front, loose puck available. Still loose in the slot. Good defense there by Winnipeg, and they're able to get it out of danger. Battle forward in the corner. Winnipeg gains control, and they'll get it out. Mason Appleton leads the charge. Mason Appleton centers to the inside. Errant pass, Niederreiter behind the net. Niederreiter along the goal line. Back up to the point in Sandberg. Sandberg has it float out of the zone, and Neighbors gains control for St. Louis, and he feeds it in. Sandberg up ahead. This is Perfetti. Niederreiter brings it back in. Niederreiter, a shot, saved by Bennington. Niederreiter out in front. Loose puck available, and St. Louis gains control. Leddy will exit the zone up ahead. Torochenko whipped on the shot attempt. Good stick there by Miller. And the Jets trying to get it out, and they will. St. Louis has to tag back up. Fox up. Torochenko, good stick again. That time Stanley got a piece of it. And Winnipeg gets it out of the zone again. Here comes Nemestikov. 2 goals. Nemestikov works it down low. Centering pass. And he couldn't get a clean shot off. St. Louis gets it out of the zone. Here's Torochenko. Big hit delivered at the point. Perfetti takes it away. Stanley delivered the hit. Nemestikov brings it in. Nemestikov behind the net. Ehlers out in front. And Kyrou takes it away for St. Louis. Back up to the point, taken away by St. Louis. Potential numbers back the other way. Inside Kyrou. Denied. Rebound. Another stop. Turned aside by Hellebuyck. And Hellebuyck continues to hold his ground. Beautiful look there for St. Louis. Arguably their best of the night. Winnipeg 28-18 shots on goal. Face-off control by Winnipeg in their own end. Morrissey will bring it up for the Jets. Now Connor with it. Connor in the slot. Outside Morrissey. Whipped on the shot attempt. And Suter takes it away at the goal line. Holloway feeds it up to Shen. And turns it over at the red line. Scheifele turns back for Winnipeg. Intercepted on the inside by Kessel. Kessel circles the boards. Suter up ahead to Kyrou. Now Shen with it. Shen centering pass. Kyrou sticked aside by Hellebuyck. Goes to the far side. Battle for it along the far half wall. DeMello exits the pack for Winnipeg. Scheifele gets hit near the red line. Velarde pestered on his way in. Shen is there for St. Louis. Barron keeps it alive. Velarde, a shot turned aside by Bennington. And Bolduc gains control for St. Louis. Shen feeds it in around the boards. Jets will get it out again. This is Barron. Barron to the other side, and Sandberg. Now Tanev on the wing. Couldn't get a clean shot off, and it floats all the way to Sundqvist. Watch out. Sundqvist in alone. Hellebuyck turns it aside. And Iafallo gains control for Winnipeg. Hellebuyck continuing to hold his ground. Now Barron on the other end. Score! 5-0 Winnipeg, and that one started off with the save by Hellebuyck and Barron on the other end. Deflects it in off the pipe, and Winnipeg is rolling here against St. Louis. Pure domination by Winnipeg. 5-0 is our score. Niederreiter inside, one-timer, trying to go for back-to-back goals again. They've already hit back-to-back goals in this game. And that one's turned aside by Bennington. So on the goal, Barron gets it, his first of the postseason. Iafallo with the assist. And it's 5-0 Winnipeg as they are eyeing the second round with a win here tonight. Face-off controlled by St. Louis in their own end. We're halfway through this game now, and a 5-0 Winnipeg lead. Neighbors fires, Hellebuyck saves. That one deflected off his glove. Comes to the near side. Niederreiter gains control, and they get it out. The Jets do once again. Turn it over in center. Thomas to the far side. This is Funk. Gets crunched in front of the benches. Niederreiter takes it away. Niederreiter intercepted by Thomas as he tried to hit the trailer. That one fed in here by St. Louis. Just over 9 minutes to go, second period. 5-0 Winnipeg has the lead. In Game 5 in a series in which they lead 3-1 and are looking to move on to the second round. Ehlers dangles, fires off a body, goes behind the net. Lowry's got it. Lowry back up to the point. Morrissey lets it fly off a body in front, and it floats to the near side. Fox got it for St. Louis, battle for it. On the half wall, Jets keep it in. Morrissey back up to the point. Nemestikov now. Morrissey, score! Second goal of the game for Morrissey. The defenseman gets involved once again. And it is 6-0 Winnipeg. Pure domination on Bennington, who is getting very little help on the other end. And Winnipeg is dominating here at home, and that one just goes right past on the far side of Bennington. He gets spread out, and he had no chance. Winnipeg dominating St. Louis' season hanging in the balance. And the bench is not happy, understandably so, for St. Louis. Morrissey's 6th point of these playoffs. Who's up tied for 3rd on the team in points. Morrissey gets the goal, his 2nd. Nemestikov and Perfetti the assists. And it's 6-0 Winnipeg, and they bring it right back in. Perfetti drops it off for Nemestikov. Couldn't get a clean shot off, and St. Louis turns back the other one. Feeds it in here for St. Louis. DeMello wins the race for the puck, and the Jets will look to get it out of their zone again, and they will. DeMello up ahead, Nemestikov. Nemestikov dangles. Nemestikov flips it towards Binnington, who will cover the puck. 7:50 to go in the second. Face-off controlled by St. Louis in their own end. Tucker will exit the zone. Potential numbers here for the Blues if they hurry. Tucker couldn't get a pass to the inside. Good stick there by Connor. Goes to the far side. Morrissey behind the net. And the Jets look to get it out again, but they can't. A turnover. Shen downstairs. Kyrou stopped again by Hellebuyck. And it goes to the far side. Kessel inside Suter. Lets it fly. Tipped around, and Hellebuyck secures another one. 7:09 to go in the second period. 6-0 Winnipeg. Face-off controlled by the Jets. And they play it around in their own zone a little bit. Dominating performance from Winnipeg here. As they look to add on. Sandberg inside. Connor wide of the net. And they try to get it out. They can. Another turnover. Connor, that one goes just wide. Binnington might have gotten a piece of that one on its way in. Battle for it along the near half wall. A scrum down there. Penalty called. And this one's going to go on Winnipeg. Cross-checking is the call on Mark Scheifele. So cross-checking on Mark Scheifele. St. Louis will go to the power play for the first time here tonight, as they look to finally get on the board here with the man advantage. Face-off coming in the Jets' end, controlled by Winnipeg, and DeMello will clear the zone. Thomas up ahead to Bullock. He backtracks in neutral ice. Pestered in front of the Jets' bench, and now it floats all the way back into their own end. Turnover, Niederreiter stopped by Binnington, and he'll cover the puck. And they'll start it again, and Binnington, hands on head, knows he was inches away from a goal. Here in a 6-0 game, tried to get a short-handed goal just to add on to the damage. Power play continues for St. Louis. Winnipeg will play this short-handed here. Lowry floats it towards Binnington. Loose puck! Watch out, Binnington finds it. And so far in this St. Louis power play, Winnipeg has had 2 shots on goal. Minute 26 to go on the man advantage for the Blues. Another takeaway there for Winnipeg, but it was brief. Holloway brings it up for St. Louis. Holloway dangles. Back up to Broberg on the point. Lets it fly off the body in front. Kyrou now to the wing and Falk. Falk downstairs. Kyrou wraparound. Saved by Hellebuyck. And Sandberg gains control for Winnipeg, and they look to clear the zone, and they will. Under a minute to go in the power play. Vichnevich will bring it back in for St. Louis, and then he turns it over to Lowry. And here comes the Jets, short-handed back the other way. Lowry, centering pass, nobody home. Sandberg now. Pionk, a shot saved by Binnington. Goes to the far side. And the Blues will get it out. 35 seconds to go in the power play. Broberg dangles behind the back pass, disrupted by Lowry, and the Jets clear the zone, and they go all the way back. Race for the puck, controlled by Ehlers. Behind the net now. 18 seconds left on the power play. Good job by Ehlers to keep it alive. Winnipeg short-handed. And then he turns it over to Shen. Final 10 seconds of the power play. One final push for St. Louis. And they turn it over again. Stanley clears the zone, and that'll be that for the power play. Winnipeg back to full strength. And that one floats in. Stanley in the far half wall. And another penalty called. This time it's on St. Louis. And Winnipeg's going to go to the power play. Jake Neighbors called for cross-checking. So Winnipeg just killed off a penalty, and now they'll have a penalty that goes in their favor. Right in front of the official, easy call. And a power play for Winnipeg as they look to add on to their lead once again. Face-off controlled by St. Louis. Can't clear as it goes behind the net. Kessel now escapes, and they'll get it out of the zone. Torochenko feeds it in. Power play for Winnipeg, already leading 6-0 in Game 5. Niederreiter will start the break in. Niederreiter, centering pass, Iafallo drops it off. Tic-tac-toe as they look to get an open look. Back up to the point, and Morrissey now Nemestikov. Iafallo on the wing, centering pass intercepted by Torochenko, and they will exit the zone. Just over a minute to go on the power play here for Winnipeg. Niederreiter turns it over. Comes to the near side. Connor gains control for Winnipeg, and they'll get it out. Here comes Morrissey up ahead. Power play. Morrissey wide of the net. Goes to the far side. Battle for it along the far half wall. Ehlers gains control to the point. Pionk lets it fly. Tipped away. And it goes to Tucker's grasp, and St. Louis will get it out. 45 seconds to go on the Jets' power play. Foxa brings it in short-handed. Good stick there by Perfetti to take it away. Here comes Scheifele. Scheifele to the other side. One-timer stopped by Binnington. Pressure is on here for Winnipeg, but St. Louis will get it out of the zone. Broberg will bring it up short-handed and then feed it in deep. Final 15 seconds of the power play here for Winnipeg. Velarde one final push. Velarde looking for the center. Drops it off for Ehlers. A shot saved by Binnington. Comes to the near side. Power play expires. St. Louis back to full strength. They kill off that power play. And Winnipeg held at a 6-0 lead. Ehlers brings it back in. Good stick there by Tucker. Under 2 minutes to go in the second period. St. Louis desperate for some momentum going into the third. Kyrou circles the net, drops it off for Tucker. Now back to the point. Leddy. Down low, Tucker, a shot. They score! Tipped in out in front, and they finally get to Hellebuyck, and the Blues are on the board for the first time tonight. See if that one hit a body out in front and deflected its way home. Robert Thomas gets the assist. Gets the second assist as Tucker puts it in. St. Louis is on the board, and it's 6-1. And the Blues finally get some momentum here, hopefully for them. In an elimination game, in the final moments of this second period, it's now 6-1. Face-off controlled by Winnipeg. Morrissey brings it right back in. And Morrissey floats it to the far side, and Barron back up to the point. Morrissey lets it fly, tipped around wide of the net. Thomas gains control and feeds it out to Buchnevich. And now Neighbors taken off his stick by Morrissey. Just over a minute, and now 1 minute to go in the second period. Neighbors intercepts that one in neutral ice. Thomas brings it in for St. Louis. Thomas in the slot with him a shot attempt. Tana takes it away from behind. Mello up ahead, Iafallo turns it over at the blue line. Now they take it back. Barron, all alone. Barron stopped by Binnington. And he'll stop play with 28 seconds to go in the second period. Still a 5-goal lead here for Winnipeg despite the St. Louis goal. Face-off control by the Jets. Niederreiter downstairs. Stop, rebound. He does a snow angel and they score. Lowry puts it in. And it's 7-1 Winnipeg. Mason Appleton gets the assist. Face-off and center controlled by St. Louis. Dominating performance here from Winnipeg. Final seconds of the period, wind down, Winnipeg dominating. And that'll do it for the second. Winnipeg a period away from moving on to the second round. They have a 7-1 lead, dominating the Blues at home in Game 5. We welcome you back to Winnipeg for the start of the third period. Winnipeg is a period away from moving on to the second round, barring a tremendous, outstanding comeback by St. Louis. But Winnipeg has had all the momentum in this game throughout. And they are a period away from putting this series to rest and sending St. Louis home. One-timer out in front, Binnington says no. Another good look there for Winnipeg to start the third. They have just been dominating since the opening drop. Face-off controlled by St. Louis. And they'll get it out of the zone, Buchnevich. Buchnevich centering pass, Neighbors downstairs. Thomas turned aside by Hellebuyck. It goes back behind the net. On the near side, DeMello gains control for Winnipeg. Gets up to the point. Morrissey gets it out of the zone on the near side. Velarde to Scheifele, turns it over to Buchnevich, and now here comes St. Louis back the other way. Neighbors working it up ahead. Buchnevich stopped again by Hellebuyck. He has played tremendously in this game, and he just continues to turn aside St. Louis shot attempts. Battle for it along the near half wall, squirts to the far side. And St. Louis will get it out of their end. Neighbors up ahead. Broberg on the trailer. Broberg a shot ticked aside by Hellebuyck. Schenn now down low. That one goes wide of the net. And DeMello will get it out to Nemestikov. Nemestikov a goal away from the hat trick if he can get another look. As he gets knocked down, St. Louis being physical here. Schenn stopped by Hellebuyck. Hellebuyck deserves a pat on the back. Teammates owe him a beer after this game. He has played outstanding. Face-off controlled by Winnipeg. Perfetti up ahead here for the Jets. To the other side, Ehlers drops it off. One-timer denied by Binnington. Looks all the way to the near side. Schenn will get it out of the zone. St. Louis back in. Holloway dangles, shoots, and Hellebuyck stops another one. Just over 2.5 gone by, third period. 6-goal lead here for Winnipeg. Face-off controlled by Winnipeg. Pionk will exit the zone. On the far side, up ahead, Appleton. Appleton fires, saved by Binnington. Goes to the far side. And St. Louis gets it out of the zone. Bolduc at the red line. Sundqvist fires, Hellebuyck again! Just stopping everything right to left, up and down. Hellebuyck has been a workhorse. And he just continues to show it off here early in the third. Face-off controlled by Winnipeg, and they'll get it out of the zone again. Niederreiter leading it up ahead. Niederreiter fires. That one goes just wide of the net. Might have hit the side of the goal. On that shot, it's it. St. Louis back the other way. Up ahead, this is Joseph. Joseph intercepted on the inside. Bullock downstairs, denied off the shoulder. And Hellebuyck, another stop by Hellebuyck. Bolduc out in front. Sundqvist turns it over to Mason Appleton. Mason Appleton has quietly had a great game here for Winnipeg. He has been setting up a lot of action for Winnipeg on both ends of the ice. On the far side, this is Foxa. Foxa looking for the center. Works it down behind the net. Joseph. Joseph wraparound try. Joseph turned aside by Hellebuyck. Goes to the far side. Stanley gains control for Winnipeg, and they'll get it out again. Barron taken off his stick by Tucker. Back the other way, St. Louis. Winnipeg caught in a change. Sandberg gains control for the Jets. Up top, this is Tanev. Tanev looking for the center. Drops it off for Barron. Barron fires a shot off a body in front. Goes to the far side where Tucker gains control. And that one floats out of the zone for St. Louis. On the near side, Jets gain control again. Barron will neutralize. Sandberg brings it up. And taken off his stick by Broberg. Vorchenko disrupted at the red line. Jets turn back the other way. Pionk. Pionk dangles. Pionk behind the net. Goes all the way through and around to Ehlers. Ehlers into the slot. Denied by Binnington. And Broberg sends it up to Schenn, who will exit the zone for St. Louis. He takes a hit in front of the Winnipeg bench. Domestikov to Perfetti. Perfetti in alone. Perfetti scores! They just continue to add on. Winnipeg has 8 goals and they lead by 7. There's more icing on the cake. A cake that's got layers. Winnipeg has dominated from the opening face-off in this game. They just continue to add on, looking to send the St. Louis Blues home. And Winnipeg looking to move on to the second round. Face-off controlled briefly by Winnipeg, and then St. Louis takes over in neutral ice. Battle for it along the near boards. It floats in. Race for the puck's going to be controlled by the Jets. Sandberg back behind the net. Wraparound try. Stopped by Binnington. Perfetti keeps it alive for Winnipeg. Out in front. Now up top. Pionk fires off a body in front. And St. Louis turns back the other way. Cairo centering pass. Schenn blocked it aside by Hellebuyck. This one floats on the near side. Back up top. Suter. Suter fires a shot. Blocked away by Hellebuyck again. And Sandberg sends it out to DeMello. 2-on-1. DeMello centering to Connor. Connor denied by Binnington. Connor out in front now, intercepted by Neighbors. Another good look there from Winnipeg. That time it was turned aside by Binnington. St. Louis will bring it back up. Thomas. Thomas fires, save Hellebuyck. Rebound goes all the way to the far half wall. Buchnevich circles the net. Out in front, Thomas. Another stop by Hollenbach. Comes to the near side. Winnipeg gains control, and they'll get it out. To the other side, this is Connor. He takes a big hit as he brings it into the zone. Buchnevich feeds it to Neighbors. Neighbors taken off his stick by Morrissey. Barron feeds it in for Winnipeg. Neighbors will start the breakout here for St. Louis. Neighbors looking for the center. Thomas couldn't get a clean one off. Behind the Winnipeg net, controlled by Tannen. We're in the halfway point of this third period. Dominating performance by Winnipeg. They lead 8-1, game 5. Winnipeg leads the series 3-1, so a win here will move them to the second round and will send the St. Louis Blues home. Holding behind the net, Joseph. Joseph back up top. One-timer goes well wide. Might have hit a body out in front. Now this one down low. Hollenbach says no. Hollenbach continues to hold his ground very well, and the Jets get it out of the zone. Sundqvist taken off his stick by Stanley. 11 to go, third period, 7-goal lead for Winnipeg, and they'll get it out. Lowry to the near side, this is Tanev. Tanev in the slot, fires downstairs, off the side of the net for Lowry. Lowry loses it, and Torochenko gains control for St. Louis. Sundqvist battling at the top of the point. Tanev trying his best to keep it in, and St. Louis will finally get it out. Torochenko on the near side. Torochenko, centering pass, stick to side by Hollenbach. Foxa now. Another stop by Hollenbach, and it floats into his grasp, and he'll stop play with 10:14 to go in the third. Just about halfway through this third period, Winnipeg looking to put the finishing touches on this one and move on to the second round. 49 shots on goal for Winnipeg. Offsides is Mason Appleton. 10:03 to go in the third. Face-off in center, controlled by St. Louis. Broberg will bring it in for the Blues. Trying to get pestered over here. Broberg keeps it alive on the point. Long shot, deflected off the bodies. The rebound was off the side of the net, perhaps. Hollenbach trying to find it. It goes back behind the net. And Sandberg gains control for Winnipeg. And he'll look to get it out, and they will. This is Lowry. Lowry pestered, keeps it alive for a moment, and then turns it over. Shen back in for the Blues. Shen in the slot, fires. Hollenbach kicks it aside. Back up to the point. Broberg into the slot, intercepted by Sandberg. St. Louis keeps it in. On the near side, this is Folk. Folk puts it along the boards, controlled by Niederreiter, and St. Louis gains control once again. Holloway. Now Shen as they battle for it along the near half wall. Pressure is on here for the Blues. One-timer denied by Hollenbach. Holloway back up to the point. Kyrou lets it fly, tipped aside by Hollenbach, and it goes just wide of the net. And Nemestikov will get it out. Turnover, Neighbors, what a play. Fires one, saved by Hollenbach, and he covers the puck. 8:15 to go in the third. Just a dominating performance from start to finish here for Winnipeg. Another stop by Hollenbach. And he has played lights out, gave up just the one goal in the second period. Other than that, he has been lights out tonight. Face-off control by Winnipeg. They'll get it out of the zone. Morrissey. Goes to the far side. Velarde. Velarde downstairs. Connor, one-timer try denied by Bennington. Loose puck. Power play for St. Louis. Penalty called. It's a slash on Kyle Connor. And if St. Louis wants any momentum in this game, it's late. They're down big. Or get the power play to go in their favor. Kyle Connor guilty of the slash. Second power play of the night here for St. Louis. Jets killed off their first one. Face-off controlled by the Blues. One-timer goes wide. I don't know if Halibut got a piece of that or not. It might have gotten off his blocker. Back into the point, Shen. Disrupted as he tried to take it into the slot, and Tanev will clear the zone for Winnipeg. Neighbors will bring it back in for St. Louis. Downstairs, Sundqvist. Sundqvist into the slot. Stopped again by Halibut. Neighbors out in front. They score! It's Bolduc who puts it in. It's a power play goal for St. Louis as they cut into that deficit here in the third. It's the second goal given up by Halibut tonight. Zach Bolduc puts it in. Sundqvist moves up on the hits list for St. Louis in the National Hockey League playoffs. 7:21 to go in the third. Bolduc gets the goals. The assist will go to Neighbors and Sundqvist. And it's 8-2. Tucker races it down in their own end, and they'll turn back the other way across the red line. Tucker brings it in. Tucker doing it himself, goes wide. Walker the rebound off the wall, comes to the near side. Walker now down low. Walker a shot turned aside. They score! On the follow-up, Torochenko puts it in. And St. Louis with back-to-back goals here in the third, trying to make things a little interesting if they can. They now trail by 5. And after we were talking up Halibut, I know he's played very well. He's gotten a little sloppy here. About 5 minutes to go here in the third. He give up back-to-back goals now. St. Louis gets their third goal of the game, and it's 8-3. Face-off in center, controlled by the Jets. They still lead big. It's 8-3. Miller. Velarde, a shot is turned aside by Bennington, and he'll stop play. 6:39 to go in the third. And Winnipeg just looking to seize the momentum back. St. Louis has some momentum. Still a big lead for the Jets. Very little time for the Blues. Fox are trying to get it out of their zone, and they will. Walker on the near side. Foxa leads it in for the Blues. Foxa looking for the center, works it down low behind the net. Torochenko, the latest goal scorer, inside Suter, a shot denied by Halibut. 6:09 to go in the third. Both teams with 51 shots on goal, but Winnipeg has found the back of the net 8 times compared to St. Louis's 3. 2 goals for St. Louis here in the third period. Velarde intercepts it as they try to get up to the point. Now here come the Jets in. Centering pass to Scheifele off a body in front. I don't think that one got all the way through to Bennington. And Bolduc will bring it up here for the Blues to the other side. Suter. Suter inside. Sundqvist disrupted by Barron, and he turns back the other way for Winnipeg. Barron feeds it in along the boards. Battle for it behind the net now. Kessel gets there first for St. Louis as they look to get it out, and they will. Here's Suter. Suter to Sundqvist. Sundqvist working it to the far half wall, circles back. Sundqvist up top. Buchnevich a shot, blocked aside by Halibut. Stays in play, high off the windows. Tanev gains control, and here comes Winnipeg. Tanev feeds it in. Under 5 minutes to go in the third. Dominating performance here by Winnipeg. They lead the series 3-1, looking to move on to the second round. Thomas brings it in for St. Louis, drops it off for Neighbors. A shot, blocked away by Halibut, and Buchnevich, bad pass, goes all the way back. Bennington out of his net to play it. Broberg looks to start the breakout. Now Thomas feeds it to Neighbors. Neighbors brings it in for the Blues. To the other side, Buchnevich couldn't get a clean shot off. Good hit up top by Pion. And now here comes Winnipeg back the other way. Pion drops it off for Niederreiter. Niederreiter a shot off a body in front. Back up to the point. Sandberg blocked aside again. Niederreiter keeps it alive for Winnipeg. Back up top. Sandberg inside. Appleton a shot. Couldn't get a clean one off. And Falk takes it away on the inside. Under 3.5 to go here in this game. Letty his shots turned aside by Halibut. Waterford on the far half wall. Tucker on the point. Shen lets it fly off of bodies in front. Floats to the far side. Penalty called. And this one's going to go on Winnipeg. Another slash on the inside. It's on Neil Pionk. There it is right there on the wrists. Penalty called. Power play here for St. Louis, their third. They scored on their latest power play that came here earlier in the third period. But still a 5-goal lead for Winnipeg with just 3 minutes left. Face-off not very cleanly won by Winnipeg, and Sandberg will get it out and circle the boards. Thomas gets there first for St. Louis. And Kyrou will start the break in. Kyrou drops it off, intercepted by Ehlers. And he can't get it out though. Thomas fires, blockered aside by Hollenbuck. JT Miller gets there for Winnipeg, and they'll get it out of the zone. Minute 20 to go on the power play, 2:26 to go in the game. Kyrou pestered along the near boards, gets it out inside. Holloway, a shot off a body in front. Buchnevich gets knocked down, and another penalty is called. And St. Louis is going to go to the 5-on-3. It's a tripping call. As we get some discussion on the Winnipeg bench. So St. Louis is going to go to a 5-on-3. Mason Appleton gets called for the trip. Right there, as he was looking for the puck, just sweeps the skate out from underneath. They had a 5-on-3 here for St. Louis, but with very little time in this game, with them trailing by 5. So at this point, St. Louis just trying to finish their season off with some pride here in Winnipeg. We've got a 5-on-3 that'll turn into a 4-on-5 power play. Winnipeg exits the zone. St. Louis has to tag back up. Bolduc will bring it back in. Bolduc centering pass. Neighbors a shot. Kicked aside. Rebound goes right through the blue paint and away. And Winnipeg will exit the zone again. 45 seconds to go on the 5-on-3. Stanley takes it away, trying to exit, but they can't. Neighbors downstairs. Turned aside by Hollenbuck. Neighbors back behind the net. Now Falk on the wing. Blockered away by Hollenbuck again. Bolduc now. Broberg is shot off the body in front. Stanley will clear the zone. Minute and a half to go in the game. 20 seconds to go on the 5-on-3 for St. Louis. On the far side, Bolduc centering pass. Broberg is shot. Gloved down by Hollenbuck. 9 seconds on the 5-on-3. Minute 17 to go in the game. And Winnipeg is a minute 17 away from moving on to the second round. Sandberg will clear the zone for Winnipeg. So one guy will escape the box here. Now a power play for St. Louis. To the other side, Thomas inside, disrupted. Holloway off the goalpost. The rebound. Hollenbuck from his backside grabs it down. And that's been the story of the game for Hollenbuck. How in the world did he even get a chance to get that one? .56 seconds to go on the St. Louis season. Shanna shot. Hellebuyck got a piece of it. It squirts back behind, and it floats out of the zone. So Winnipeg is going to move on to the second round. A dominating performance here in Game 5. A dominating series for the most part, leading 3-1 coming into play today. And St. Louis' season will end right here in the next 32 seconds. Miller shorthanded to Tanev. Couldn't get a clean shot off, and Buchnevich trying to clear the zone, but he can't. Winnipeg keeps it in. One final push for St. Louis on their season, trying to end with some pride. A shot saved by Hellebuyck. Morrissey gains control, and Niederreiter feeds it up to Scheifele. 12 seconds left. Scheifele sends that one right through the blue paint. Winnipeg still on the attack. A turnover with final seconds winding down. Bolduc brings it in. Final second shot. One more save by Hellebuyck. He stops play with 2 seconds left, and Winnipeg is 2 seconds away from moving on to the second round. A dominating performance from the opening faceoff. And they are the hottest team in the NHL right now, moving on to the second round. Faceoff controlled by the Jets, and that'll do it. The Winnipeg Jets are moving on to the second round. They win the series 4-1 over St. Louis, and they do it in front of their hometown fans here tonight. A dominating performance by Winnipeg. Heads hanging low for St. Louis. Their season comes to an end here north of the border. Hellebuyck was outstanding in this game. He gives up 3 goals, but a couple of them in garbage time. Shaking the hands for the final time in this series. Winnipeg moving on to the second round. St. Louis' season comes to an end in front of a packed house here in Winnipeg. Dominating performance. Hellebuyck was outstanding. And I would not want to be the team to have to face this Jets team in the second round. But the Jets win the series 4-1, and they clinch the series in front of their hometown fans in Game 5. Final score from Winnipeg, the Jets 8, the Blues 3. Good night from Winnipeg.